Everyone thinks they know the NVIDIA story. It's the story of a gaming company that built the best graphics chips. A company that stumbled into the AI boom. A lucky beneficiary of a sudden, massive wave of demand. That is the common narrative. It is also fundamentally wrong. NVIDIA's dominance in the AI revolution is not an accident. It is not a lucky break. It is the direct, inevitable result of a 30-year, $60 billion bet on a technology that the rest of the world mocked, ignored, or simply failed to see. A bet that started in 1993, when the Internet was barely a concept, when the iPhone was 14 years away, when artificial intelligence was a term reserved for failed academic research and science fiction. For 3 decades, NVIDIA poured everything they had into one core idea: parallel processing. The idea that complex problems are best solved not by one powerful core, but by thousands of smaller, coordinated cores working simultaneously. It was an engineering obsession, an act of faith, and for many years, a financial liability. Until it wasn't. This is the story of how NVIDIA waited for the world to catch up to its vision, and how that patient, unwavering conviction transformed a hardware company into the single most important engine of the 21st century economy. NVIDIA was founded by Jensen Huang, Chris Malachowski, and Curtis Priam in 1993. Their initial purpose was clear: to create the best graphics cards, the GPUs, for PC gaming. For the first 15 years, that was the entire business. Selling hardware to gamers. They faced brutal competition. They survived the dot-com bubble. They fought Intel and AMD in a constant, bloody turf war over performance metrics. Yet, by 2012, they were still fundamentally a component manufacturer. A great one, but still dependent on the cycles of the consumer market. Then came a moment of quiet, almost invisible convergence. A moment when 3 disparate threads, NVIDIA's GPU design, advanced academic research, and the availability of massive datasets, snapped together. In 2012, a team at the University of Toronto used NVIDIA GPUs to win the ImageNet competition for image recognition, crushing the competition. That single academic result proved that the gaming GPU, with its massively parallel architecture, was the perfect engine for the computationally intensive task of training a deep learning model. This was the spark. But the true mystery remains: how did a company built for rendering dragons and explosions strategically corner the market on the future of AI, turning a $60 billion investment in gaming tech into the world's most critical resource? That's the strategic mystery we're unlocking today. The answer lies in 4 interlocking strategic masterstrokes. NVIDIA didn't just build hardware. They built a moat of software. For decades, the standard processor in any computer was the CPU, the central processing unit. The CPU is a versatile genius. It can handle any task, but it does so sequentially. One task after the other. The GPU, the graphics processing unit, is different. It's a parallel brute. Its job is to calculate the color and position of millions of pixels simultaneously to create a seamless image. This architecture is perfect for rendering graphics. But it also happens to be perfect for the linear algebra and matrix multiplication that are the core operations of a neural network. The problem? Programmers couldn't easily access the power of the GPU for non-gaming tasks. You couldn't just tell a GPU to train an AI model. NVIDIA solved this in 2006 by releasing CUDA, Compute Unified Device Architecture. CUDA was a software development kit, a programming language and toolset that allowed researchers and engineers to bypass the graphics functions and program the raw parallel power of the GPU directly. This was a profoundly unselfish and forward-thinking investment. It cost a fortune. It diverted immense engineering talent. And for years, it generated almost zero revenue. It was a bet on a future use case that hadn't fully materialized. But when AI researchers finally realized they needed massive parallel processing, They didn't just need a powerful chip, they needed the tools to use it. CUDA was the key to the castle. By giving it away, NVIDIA built an unassailable ecosystem lock-in. Every major deep learning framework, from Google's TensorFlow to Meta's PyTorch, was built, optimized, and trained on CUDA. To switch away from NVIDIA now doesn't just mean buying a new chip. It means rewriting trillions of lines of code and rebuilding an entire research infrastructure. That makes the ecosystem irreplaceable. Competitors like AMD and Intel focused on selling the silicon, the bare metal. NVIDIA took a different, far more costly approach: full-stack vertical integration. They recognized that the market wasn't just selling hardware, it was selling a solution. NVIDIA began to design every piece of the puzzle. The chip, hardware moving from consumer GeForce cards to the massive, data center-grade Tesla and Hopper AI accelerators. These are not just bigger chips, they are specifically engineered for AI. At the interconnect, networking in 2019, NVIDIA acquired Mellanox for nearly $7 billion. Mellanox makes the high-speed networking and InfiniBand technology needed to link thousands of GPUs into a single, cohesive supercomputer. The software platform continuing to invest heavily in CUDA, but also building NVIDIA AI Enterprise, a suite of software tools to manage, deploy, and scale AI models in the data center. Think of it this way: Intel sells you an engine. NVIDIA sells you the engine, the specialized fuel, the driver, the maintenance team, and the custom-built racetrack, all working together, guaranteed. This full-stack approach makes it almost impossible for a startup to compete. The barrier to entry isn't just a powerful chip, it's the entire data center ecosystem, which NVIDIA controls from the transistor up to the application layer. They didn't just enter the market, they defined the market and then built all the essential infrastructure around their own product. The final strategic move was a fundamental shift in identity. NVIDIA stopped thinking of itself as a product company selling a finite, boxed component. They began to think of themselves as a data center platform selling time and access. Historically, a CPU or a GPU sale was a one-time transaction. A consumer bought the part, and the revenue cycle ended. The AI data center model is different. It's an ongoing, recurring stream of revenue based on capacity and upgrades. When OpenAI or Google or Amazon Web Services buys a cluster of H100 GPUs, they are buying 1. The hardware, a multi-million-dollar initial outlay. 2. The interconnect, the Mellanox networking to link the cluster. 3. The software license, the CUDA AI Enterprise suite required to run the operation at scale. 4. The upgrade cycle. AI model sizes are doubling every few months. This creates a relentless, unavoidable demand for the next generation of NVIDIA hardware. NVIDIA engineered a market where its customers, the largest, most cash-rich technology companies in the world, are in a strategic arms race. If their competitor upgrades to the next generation NVIDIA chip, they must upgrade as well, or risk falling behind in the AI race. This dynamic has transformed NVIDIA's revenue from the cyclical, volatile world of consumer electronics to the stable, hyper-growth world of enterprise infrastructure. The hardware sale is just the doorway to a multi-year, strategic partnership for the entire AI backbone of a modern corporation. This final point explains the patience of the 30-year bet. For years, NVIDIA allowed the gross margins on its gaming cards to subsidize the development of the CUDA ecosystem and the expensive, non-profitable AD into parallel computing for research. It was an intentional, long-term strategic loss leader. They understood that the true value was not in the immediate profit of the hardware. The true value was in establishing dominance of the platform. Think of it like a train track. You make a profit selling tickets, but the real power is owning the track. By making the CUDA platform universally available and continually investing in its functionality, they enabled millions of developers and thousands of startups to build their entire life's work on NVIDIA's foundation. When the massive demand for AI finally arrived, the inflection point they had been waiting for, the entire industry was already pre-wired for NVIDIA. When the moment came to raise prices, there was no alternative. The switching cost was simply too high. This is the ultimate payoff for a 30-year strategic patience. If you're starting to understand the sheer scale of this strategic brilliance, and you feel that aha moment kicking in, please do us a small favor. Take a second, hit the like button and subscribe to Strategy Unlocked. It's the single best way to help us continue breaking down these world-changing business stories. Let's bring these threads together. The 60 billion, 30-year bet was not simply on creating a good chip. It was a bet on the inevitability of a technology, massive-scale parallel computing, and a commitment to building the entire universe around it. The gaming GPU was the Trojan horse. It was the profitable product line that allowed the company to keep the lights on and fund the development of the unprofitable, future-proofing platform, CUDA. NVIDIA's genius was not in adapting to the AI boom. It was in creating the environment for the AI boom to happen, with their own infrastructure already in place as the non-negotiable standard. And that is the core secret of NVIDIA's transformation. The company didn't pivot from gaming to AI. It recognized that the underlying technology that made games beautiful, parallel processing, was the exact same technology required to make intelligent machines a reality. They didn't need to change their core engineering philosophy. They simply needed to wait for the market to realize the full, non-gaming application of their product. They were not a company waiting for a trend. They were a company ahead of a trend, building the foundation for a skyscraper in a field that everyone else thought was still only good for growing corn. Their competitors are now desperately trying to build a chip that is as powerful. But they are decades too late. NVIDIA is no longer selling a chip. They are selling the standard operating system for the artificial intelligence age. And the value of a standard operating system is exponentially greater than the value of any single piece of hardware. The result is not just market dominance, it is a choke point on the future of every industry from medicine to manufacturing. The bet paid off. The NVIDIA story is a masterclass in two profound business principles. The first principle is strategic foresight and patience. Most companies operate on quarterly cycles. Most CEOs are pressured to deliver immediate returns. NVIDIA's leadership operated on a decade-long timeline. They knew the utility of parallel processing was far greater than gaming. They simply held the conviction, invested the capital, and outlasted the skeptics. In business, true breakthrough rarely comes from short-term tinkering. It comes from unwavering commitment to a core, unique technology that has a wide, but currently unexploited, use case. The second principle is ecosystem ownership. NVIDIA did not seek to win the product war, they sought to win the platform war. By strategically giving away the initial tool, CUDA, they made themselves the center of gravity for an entire emerging field of science. This is the ultimate lesson. In any complex, high-tech sector, the winner is rarely the company with the best single product. The winner is the company that controls the development environment, the networking infrastructure, and the software layer that makes all competing products irrelevant. NVIDIA's legacy isn't just a fast chip. It's the lesson that the most profitable product isn't hardware, but the irreplaceable infrastructure upon which all future progress is built. If you learn something new about business strategy, hit the like button and subscribe for more strategy breakdowns. And let us know in the comments, what company's strategy should we unlock next?